Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I'm Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts beer discussion, let's call it today. I'm going to have a nugget nectar while I do this. I did this on Instagram. I haven't done this on YouTube yet, so I thought I might do a discussion on it on YouTube. And I am over there, got the grill going, getting that preheated for some burgers. It is around 87 degrees with some wind, so if you hear the wind and the air conditioner that over that way, I apologize for that. Nice looking beer in the glass. So this one is called the hashtag FABQ, which stands for Frequently Asked Beer Questions. There are 9 questions that are asked in the Frequently Asked Beer Questions, and I will try to do this from memory or just give you the live opinions that I am spitting out to you now. I have them out on my phone. The first question is, how did you get into beer geeking and why beer? Well, not really sure why beer, but I know that I got into beer geeking through my father. He's not a really huge beer geek, but he was into beers and craft beer, and also wine and whiskeys and spirits. But he was into craft beer and had growlers from this local company called Buzzards Bay Brewing that he used to go to in Westport, Mass, and we still do from time to time. And he got me interested in better beers than just the standard Bud, Miller, Coors kind of thing. So I attribute that to how I got into beer geeking. And then I like, the flavors of beer ever since, and here I am. 8 years later now, 29 years old. What's your favorite beer? I can tell you my favorite beer of all time so far is Young's Double Chocolate Stout from Young's and Wells in England. Although my favorite style is IPA, and my favorite IPA is Congress Street from Trillium Brewing Company. Next question. If you have one beer forever, what would it be? One beer forever. I think I remember answering this question as probably Guinness. Somewhat dark, somewhat malty. Easy drinking. It's only 4.2% alcohol by volume. The dry Irish Stout would be a great style as one beer to have forever. High Life isn't a bad choice. PBR is not a bad choice. I think I'll probably, even though I love IPAs, I'll probably get tired of them forever. And I always like Guinness, even when it's on tap, so maybe Guinness. How can you drink so much, and how do you stay healthy? Well, it's like anything else in life. You just got to balance those things. I don't know the exact answer to that. I'm not the thinnest person at 155 pounds, but you have to balance everything in life and make sure that this is just a hobby and not any kind of an indulgence that you're going to get yourself in trouble with later on in life. So just balance it out with everything else you do in life. Are you an alcoholic? No. Although, the one thing I can say about beer reviewing is sometimes you can get too caught up into the hobby, and sometimes you have to, cut it back a little bit. But alcoholic? Absolutely not. What is your favorite ingredient? So what's your favorite beer ingredient? And on Instagram, on my Massachusetts Beer Review page of Instagram, or group of Instagram, I remember talking about water. And I still think that water is the most critical ingredient when it comes to beer, because if you're sourcing your water from a really dirty place, or it's a really dirty water source, the beer's not going to taste great. If it's got a big mineral content to it, it's going to have a off flavor that maybe you won't, necessarily prefer. If the water's just dirty in general, it's going to be a dirty, nasty beer. So if you start with clean water, a good water source, or maybe a certain area of the world's got a good mineral composition for the water that makes it, the beer taste good. So water, to me, is the most important ingredient of beer. Question 8. What was your first beer? And my first beer probably was either Miller Lite or Miller High Life. And that's just because there's always been a Miller Lite. At least there's always been Miller Lite in my household. So I have to say, it's either Miller Lite or Miller High Life. Those are the two beers that I remember, trying very little amounts of, just sips here and there before I actually turned 21. So, and I do prefer that as far as a lighter style beer or an American adjunct lager is concerned. And look at that dollop of lacing. So it's probably one of those two. And the final question that is asked for the frequently asked beer questions is, who in the beer world do you look up to? And I talked about on the Instagram version of this video that I look up, well, not really look up to, that's a strong set of words and opinions, get away fly, but I remember talking about his name is Dr. Bill Sizek. I think he's one of the, I don't know, he's not a brew master, but he's got a pretty, I don't know what his role is, but he's got a pretty big role at Stone Brewing Company. And he used to do these things, he doesn't seem to do them anymore. He used to do these things, the other guys that are in the videos do it still to this day. But he used to do this thing on YouTube called, I guess it's Beer Pairings with Dr. Bill. And just listening to him going, it doesn't even have to be just Stone Brewing Company beers, but just listening to him, how passionate he is about food, the pairings, just generally talking to people about beer, just his general love and interest for beer and how he tries to get people excited about beer is something that I really enjoy about Dr. Bill Sizek. Other people, Jim Cook from Samuel Adams and Sam Calagione of Dogfish Head, and whatever the guy's name, I apologize, I don't know your name, that does the founder of Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, where at least for Jim Cook from Sam Adams and the founder of Sierra Nevada, they're the ones in the early 80s that really got craft beer rolling as it did in the United States, and really getting people kind of interested in different flavored beers and flavors of beers and what craft beer can really be. Because it pretty much at that point in time, before Jimmy Carter signed a law that allowed homebrewing to be possible, which is how those companies started, through homebrewing, it was Bud Miller, Coors, Schlitz, Falstaff, Hamm's, Old Milwaukee, Stroh's beer. Those kind of beers and Miller High Life were just kind of the prevalent beers. You had to go and get what's known as the Beers of the World packages to really get other beer styles in this country. Now, I know in the 70s there was, I think it was Anchor Brewing Company that was brewing all different kinds of beers that we now consider craft beer lines or craft styles of beer, but it wasn't really till the 80s, and then when the 90s came in, it exploded the beer industry. So those are the kind of people that I look up to that started to get the beer scene rolling and really getting people interested in craft beer, and then Bill Sizek for his immense passion and wanting to share that passion with other people. So those are the 9 most frequently asked beer questions. Don't know why they're considered most frequently asked, but they're most frequently asked. So that's just a little insight into me when it comes to beer. And remember to drink in moderation. Get somebody to help you drive if you can't. And I find, which is the greatest aspect of beer to me, even if it's Pabst Blue Ribbon or something like that, is sharing the beer. Don't be a beer snob. You can be a beer geek and geek out about beer and really love talking about beer like we all do, but share that beer. Get other people interested. Have a dialogue. If they don't want to have the dialogue, don't force the dialogue. I got a bunch of friends that don't wish to talk about beer, so I kind of tone it down a little bit. But if you want to talk about beer, join me here on the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube, or over on the Massachusetts Beer Reviews group of Facebook. Find us on Wednesday nights with Jay Terriot on his Louisiana Beer Reviews page, Jay Terriot. And until next time, keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. See you soon. It's about time to put those burgers on the grill.